tons of stuff in the Quran you can't
Name one, and I'll refute it.
Just two?
Which one? This one? Just do the balls first.
Sperms and sun.
All right. So what do you think the Quran's saying about spam?
I'm waiting for you to tell me.
No. What do you think it's saying?
What do you think? I've told you, man.
No. You said you. All right. So here's your stance right now.
Watch what he does. He doesn't answer the question. He'll just try and ridicule me, put me down instead of answering the question. Just answer a straightforward question.
Yeah.
But nobody goes. I've watched him past half I can read him like a book. He's pretty predictable. He's like a comedy one night.
Yeah. No. The comedy's here, my friend. It's all here. Okay.
And yet you can't answer the Muslim laws in this Muslim majority lands. You can't.
What?
Today you can't refer.
I've told you. Oppressive Muslim regimes have nothing to do with my religion.
Nothing to do with Islam.
No,
nothing to do with Islamic law.
Nothing to do with what I believe as a Muslim. No,
but it doesn't give what you believe.
Question them.
Does it have to do with Islamic law?
What?
That was putting it in place.
No, I just explained it to you. If you're homosexual in an Islamic state, what did I just say to you?
You tell me
what Islam teaches. I'll tell you what Islamic teaches. I don't know what you said. I'll tell you what Islam teaches.
To what point does
Islam teaches? Okay, if you're having homosexual sex in your house, like I've said to you, I am. Well, I am. Nobody can come. Your state cannot kick down your door to see what you're doing.
They do in Turkey.
All right, but Islam doesn't permit that.
So what's gone wrong in these lands in Europe?
In my experience, I would say dictators propped up by the West.
Wait, what's the difference?
Because they're not Islamic.
Who is Islamic? Nobody can define it. Nobody can pin it down.
Because we've not had the opportunity. We've been given the opportunity to rule by Islam.
But there must be something. Where today can I go and love it? Just love being
nowhere.
There's nowhere.
There isn't.
Thank you for your honesty, mate. Thank you.
There isn't.
But I've already said that.
You've already said that.
You didn't.
Yes, I did.
Did you believe otherwise?
No, I said there's no Muslim place where Muslims can go like I have a Muslim homeland.
No, not a Muslim homeland. I've asked this man, what Islamic country can I go to and just love it?
Oh, you?
Yeah.
Morocco.
Yeah, but it depends what he means by Islam.
Morocco? Yeah, but I'm gay, so I want to be open and free.
Yeah, but who knows you're gay unless you keep going around telling everyone you're gay?
I want to advertise yourself.
Okay, if you go to, I said to you, right, listen. When I went to Morocco, listen.
Advertise yourself.
I know, honestly.
So is he right or not?
Yeah, exactly.
So listen, I'm going to say to him, when I'm in Morocco, Aki, listen, my friend, when I'm in Morocco, right, when I went to Morocco to get married, yeah? Are you listening? They wanted to hold my hand walking the streets, right? Not just hold my hand, flipping, hold my hand like this. Yeah, I'm like, flipping, I'm English, mate. Right.
Why don't you hold your hand?
The Moroccan guy.
Why?
Because he felt the love, because I was his brother. This is a culture thing. So if you go to Morocco, you'll see many guys holding hands. In most Arab countries, this is a thing they have. As English. No, but listen.
Gingery man, you fancy.
I tell you. But as English.
Inside, you know? It's all this pink, gingery fellow and fancy thing, sort of. Wanted to screw and shag him.
Listen, we don't all have a sick mind like you.
That's what he wanted to do.
That's your sick mind. That's your sick mind. Islam will cure that sick mind for you.
That's my question.
I explained to him Islam will cure his sick mind. Did you hear that? A kindly gentleman over here, yeah, actually just made a statement that a man in Morocco wanted to hold my hand because he seen my ginger hair and pink skin and wanted to have sex with me. This is why this guy needs Islam. This is the sick mind that these guys develop. God knows what he's passed on to his children with these moral standards. Yeah, let them know.
Anyway, let's hear your question about what I said before about
I'm gonna. Well, you won't allow me to give you the details. All right, so I'll say it to you because the West.
Mythical golden age.
No, what I'm going to say is the West won't allow it.
Yeah, I mean nonsense.
And that's my answer. That's true.
Nonsense.
It's true.
Yeah, I know. But we're going to pray, inshallah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Come to it. We're going to pray and then come back. This is what we pray.
Run for his life.
What's that?
I said, past the time of Asr, we'll have to pray.
Yeah, inshallah. We're going to go soon anyway.
Dictators have taken over the countries now.
No. I've answered, that's it. You won't allow the elaborate answer. I'm going to give the elaborate answer, but for you, that's all right. I've tried to explain to him. He's asked me about why there's no Muslim institutions around in the world.
Have you all noticed? Right. He behaves a typical arrogant Englishman who thinks he knows better.
Says the arrogant, typical Englishman.
Sort of, and understands the Quran and Islam far better than any of you do.
Even in Britain, they see people.
Okay.
Colour. It's not about him because she looks more like Middle Eastern, so therefore you understand that.
Yeah.
It's knowledge. It's knowledge.
So I'll say it again. The reason why Islam has no institutions today is that wherever Islam has tried to have institutions, they've been bombed. So there's been invasions in their countries have been decimated, their infrastructure destroyed. So they've never had the ability to have these institutions that my man is craving. Now, what's the difference between Islamic institutions prior to this? They weren't being invaded. They were the strength. No one could invade them. Therefore, that's why Islam flourished. That's why we had the sciences developing from Islam. That's why algebra came out of Islam. That's why if you want to read the oldest works of Aristotle, you need to read it in Arabic, because the oldest manuscripts are in Arabic. Yeah, but unfortunately that heritage has been destroyed, especially because of the disunity amongst the Muslims, and we need to solve that problem.
They were plagiarised and copied from.
If you want to support your claims with evidence, please do so. If you can't, it's nothing but hearsay and rhetoric.
He's very clever, actually. Anything he doesn't.
He said reverted with evidence.
It's answered. The question's answered. Don't worry, mate.
He wants the evidence, whatever it is. He wants the evidence. Basically, well, you can't go wrong with evidence.
Heavily patriarchal. Western Britain.
800 years ago. Arrogant Englishman you are, that you know even better than the Arabs and the
When someone comes along making false statements, then it needs challenging. Look, for example, you missed it, but the Iraqi guy's an Arab, yeah? And he's talking nonsense.
To you he was talking nonsense.
No, he is talking nonsense.
As I say, you behave.
Anyway, I need to go pray. I need to go recognize my creator.
The arrogant Englishman you are.
Nutshell. All right, speak to you soon. Spur business, yeah?
What are you talking about?
Oh, is it?
It's a translation, but it goes between loins or backbone.
All right, I made a mistake. We're laughing at you when I shouldn't have laughed at you. Okay, you are correct.
Are you making a public apology? Get this on film.
Yeah.
Get it on film.
No issue. No issue with that. Okay, I laughed at you when I said that the sperm was created in the testes. You're correct. Right? 2% of it is stored above the bladder. But we're talking about ejaculation here.
You had to phone a friend to get that.
Listen, no, because he's a doctor, isn't he? So first of all, so what I'm doing. So here's what I'm doing for you, my friend. What's your name, my friend? What's your name?
I'm not telling you my name.
All right, okay. Roger.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, let's call him
Roger. All right.
Roger Moore.
Joe blogs. Joe. So Joe, the first thing we have to see how it happens biologically, and then we have to see is the Quran compatible or incompatible. All right.
It is wrong there.
All right. So the first point is this: what does the Quran say? So let's read what the Quran says first.
Well, why don't can I speak to your friend? Because your friend told you that, and you're just rehashing what your friend told you.
So
that's so. You present yourself as an expert, but you had to phone a friend. It's not a game show.
No, but you asked him a question. We told
you can ask an audience member as well.
I wanted to go definitive for you.
He had the information, but he wanted to.
No, I've had the information for you. I just wanted to clarify it.
Initially, he laughed at me. He ridiculed me until his friend told him.
He apologised.
No. I apologise. Listen.
You're laughing at me as well.
I'm laughing at you because I don't think that's the case.
Somebody else asked him a question.
I don't got a phone.
You're the one who Muslim.
I seem to go over. Oh, I don't got a Quran. Just give me a verse. I don't got Quran. Yeah, Surah Tariq. Surah Tariq, verse 8. So we're going to read the verse. All right.
I read it, honestly, I forgot it.
No.
I read it, we just all read
What did it say? What did it say then?
Before you came, we all read it together.
So how did you understand it?
It was a big kumbaya love fest.
So how did you understand it?
I just told you.
So you admit you were wrong?
You want the information, I'll be honest.
I got it.
What was it?
We got it, I just told you.
So you were wrong?
What was it?
So you're wrong?
I wasn't wrong. I told you it's produced in the testicles. You said it's not.
Yeah, but it didn't say produced. Here's the thing you see. But the Quran doesn't talk about
produced. The Quran talks about the groin area. It says the loins or the backbone, depending on the translation.
No, but the Quran. Don't run off. 1 second.
I'm not filming. I told you not to be filmed.
The Quran. Listen. The Quran doesn't mention production.
That's not on.
Okay.
I asked permission.
Okay. The Quran does not mention production. It says issued. Yeah? Which issues... no. So here's the question. Where are you going? Okay, okay. So my man here, I did laugh at him before when he said about the sperm being produced in the testes. He's correct. But the Quran's not talking about production of sperm. It's talking about issuing forth of sperm. And so what happens, even though it's produced in the testes, 2% of it is stored above the bladder. 2%. When the ejaculation occurs, 98% comes from just below the coccyx to mix with this 2%, and that's what you have as fluid issuing forth. So the biological understanding is what? The sperm is stored where? Above the bladder and below the coccyx. What does the Quran say about issuing forth? Not about production. So the testes have nothing to do with this, because they just have the responsibility of making a percentage of the ejaculation. 98% of it comes from below the coccyx. So if the Quran makes this claim that a fluid issues forth from between the ribs and the backbone, it's biologically accurate. There's also another layer to look at this, where the Quran is saying where the fluid issues forth and where the human being emerges from, which is where the baby's born, through the birth canal, which is in the same place. So if you want to take this to be the Quran splitting it up, saying the fluid is issued forth and the baby comes from the ribs, we have this. If you want to take it as this is all about ejaculation, sorry for the uncouth nature of what we're talking about, but if you want to say it's just about ejaculation, then it issues forth from where? 98% from the coccyx, which is where? Between the backbone and the ribs. So the Quran is correct in whichever way you wish to look at it. This is why my man here refuses to be filmed and be refuted on film. But I do apologise for laughing at him when he said it was created in the testes, because he was in fact correct. Bismillah. Alright, James James is talking about why there's no Islamic institutions today, why we only have history. I could ask the same question, why is there no Greek institutions today, why is there no Greek creating things today? Yeah, you can speak of the Aristotles and the Galens of the past, but he won't allow us to speak of the past. He wants to talk about now. So where are these great Greek innovators now? Where's the Italian painters today? This is what he wants. He doesn't want old school, he wants now, today, now. Okay, he seems to ignore that the West have invaded so many countries now. It's like saying, where's the civilization in Iraq? You destroyed it, mate. Yeah. Where's the civilization in Libya? You destroyed it, mate. Exactly. Yeah, invade country, bomb country after country after country, and then you ask, where's their infrastructure? Where's their institutions? You destroyed them, mate. Yeah? The French colonized Morocco and Algeria and all these places. Destroyed them, mate. The Italians conquered Tunisia, Libya.
The institutions weren't there.
Destroyed them.
French went there.
Okay. The first university in the world is in Morocco, in Masjid Karouin, in the city of Fez. The first place of learning, youth university, opened by a woman, was in Morocco.
Well, if
Alhamdulillah.
It's even more.
Alhamdulillah.
Really? That's the reason.
It's disgraceful that it was opened by a woman.
Excuse me? I didn't say you're putting words in my mouth. I never said any such thing.
What did you say?
Come here, old chap.
He's insinuating that I was saying something technically about a woman.
I think you did.
A woman. I didn't.
What did you say?
It's irrelevant.
So what did you say? Well, you can't say you didn't say it and then say, I'm not telling you what I said. Well, come on, man, be fair. We can't guess.
All I said was,
go on,
okay,
what did you say?
If that was the case, then it is even more shameful today, the result.
Do you think it's fair to ask where the infrastructure is of a country after it's been bombed? Is it fair?
As I say,
and you said these countries don't produce anything. Where's the oil come from? Where's the oil come from?
Yeah, and who produced it? It'd still be in the ground if it wasn't for European
Who told you that?
expertise.
Who told you that?
It'd still be in the
Where
ground.
does argan oil come from? Where does argan oil come from? Where does argan oil come from? Huh? In L'Oreal products. Where's it all come from? Morocco, mate.
Joe, you're just trying to divert the question.
No, I'm just trying to show. I'm just trying to show that you're illogical in your questioning. That's all I'm going to say, and you're not fair.
You learn your mathematics. Where?
According to National Geographic Society, the magazine come out, they found out.
Where did you learn your science?
The Western society,
Medical.
This environment,
from Muslim
modern life, we would have been 300 years back without the involvement of Muslim scientists.
Empire of Spain.
Because of Muslims' innovations.
Which innovations?
You go and search.
Which innovation?
Okay.
Mathematics.
No.
The time of the...
One second, let me just do this. 1 second. Okay. James, you want to get involved in this or not? Okay. James made a statement earlier. One second. He made a question earlier that we feel we need to respond to as well. He asked, where were the great institutions today of the Muslims? Why don't we have them anymore? Why is all the Muslim lands in the states they're in? Why is there no unity? Yeah? Okay. Let's answer James.
But this is in the library. You can study.
This was said.
James, are you listening?
You study
This was said
1001.
on the 3rd of March 1924. Yeah?
Almost 100 years.
Yeah? And who was it said by? Let me just see who it was said by so we have it. I'll give you who said it, okay?
What do you say?
Oh, Lord Curzon. He says, we must put an end to anything which brings about any Islamic unity between the sons of the Muslims. The situation now is that Turkey is dead and will never rise again, because we have destroyed its moral strength, the Caliphate and Islam. The bold statement, or rather stark warning, was allegedly made by the former British Foreign Secretary Lord Curzon, the House of Commons, after the Lausanne Treaty of 1923, when the Ottomans were defeated in World War I. The reason why Lord Curzon's statement should be taken with so much weight is because it correlates with the following hadith of the Prophet. The knots of Islam will be undone one by one. Each time a knot is undone, the next will be grasped. The first to be undone will be the ruling, and the last will be the prayer.
Don't make claims you cannot not make claims you cannot I want you to run away very quickly. You are.
What we'll do, we'll leave the full quote on the video, so you'll have the link to it, so you can read it in its entirety and you can question it for its validity. Okay?
We don't question.
But the stand is this. The question, to answer James's question, why is there no institutions today? Because after the Ottomans were destroyed, the West came together and vowed never to allow Muslim unity and destroyed their institutions, that they could never form any foundations again.
That is not enough.
And the next question needs to be asked.
Not enough.
Because we know Islam did have a great civilization and did have great science, knowledge and learning, what's the difference between that and now? That's the question that needs to be asked. What changed? And what changed? Collapse of the Islamic State. I'll rest my peace. Alright, James? Done. Thank you for that material, because that was beautiful material. Appreciate it. Been a pleasure.
Typical English, arrogant English.
Yeah. Remind me of my granddad.
Behaves exactly like the arrogant Englishman who's gone all over the world.
For the record, I don't believe I'm greater than anybody.
Telling them
the Greeks have some great institutions today.
I think what he's trying to say is if Saddam didn't invade Kuwait, he would still be there. Iraq would be in one piece.
Who told him to invade Kuwait?
Huh?
Who told him to invade Kuwait?
No, Saddam invaded.
No, why did he invade Kuwait?
He wanted to get the oil from.
Who told you that?
Who told you that?
That's what he said.
Okay, did Kuwait invade Iraq while Iraq was fighting Iran?
Exactly.
Did Kuwait invade Iraq while Iraq was fighting Iran?
They gave lots of money.
No, did Kuwait take land in Iraq once Iraq was fighting Kuwait?
I totally agree with
you.
So first do your history and check it out. I'll tell you how I know. Because Madeleine Albright, the ambassador to American ambassador, said to Saddam Hussein, you do know that they've taken this land.
Well, when the Americans said to Saddam, move away, please leave.
No.
He didn't.
Madeleine Albright told Saddam Hussein.
He only just said it verbally, He fell for it. When the Americans were there and they said, leave Kuwait, Saddam didn't leave Kuwait. He said, I want Kuwait,
Listen, I've spoken have you been to Kuwait?
I lived in Saudi Arabia.
Alright, so I've been in Kuwait, and what the Kuwaitis told me at that point in time.
I lived there.
Alright.
32 years.
Okay. When I was in Kuwait, and I was speaking to the Kuwaitis, and at the time Iraq invaded, what they said was this: it was either Iraq who was going to invade, invade or Saudi. They was waiting for an invasion from one of
Saudi
them.
wouldn't invade.
No. The Kuwaitis said this was the scenario with them. They were waiting for it. One of these countries was going to invade them. It happened to be Iraq. But they were ready for an invasion of Saudi. Yeah? Because Kuwait is a reservoir of oil. All the oil from Iraq and Saudi, it wells up in Kuwait.
There's more oil in Saudi than
No.
I worked in the oil company.
Okay. So in Kuwait, it's like a reservoir.
Yeah,
All the oil from Iraq and
it doesn't flow that way.
it doesn't. So the Kuwaitis are lying to me.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, originally, historically, there was one country, but it was separated.
And who separated them?
Yeah, separated. But
This country. This country.
No,
they did.
Iraq destroyed itself because of Saddam Hussein.
They didn't. They didn't destroy it.
No,
We invaded Iraq on a lie.
He took the oil.
No.
Do you think Iraq's better without Saddam Hussein? Do you think Iraq's better without Saddam Hussein?
Could have been, but
No, forget could have would.
the
Is it?
Shia and the Sunnis can
Is
fight in each
it? Is
other.
it?
No, there wasn't.
Is it better without Saddam Hussein?
No, there wasn't.
He's Iraqi.
Yeah, I understand.
Right, so
I lived in that part of the world.
So is it better without him? Well, he's
Don't
Iraqi.
30 years.
He's Iraqi.
I know, I've lived longer than he has lived there.
What, in Iraq?
How long have you lived in Iraq?
You can't just make blanket statements.
I worked at the oil company.
Do you know him?
Yeah. No.
So where are you from? Where are you from?
Originally, my parents were from Sri Lanka.
Right, so you were abused in Saudi, yeah? The Arabs would have treated you like I don't know what.
I was a chemical engineer.
Oh, okay.
I was working for the oil company.
Oh, okay. Are you Muslim?
No.
All right, so you... Okay. All right, carry on. So Iraq. So you made a statement. You said a
This man
statement.
is right. Iraq destroyed themselves, Fell apart. The whole place fell apart.
MashaAllah. We destroyed ourselves. We are crazy, huh? That's why we destroy our
Are you telling an Iraqi about his country?
Yeah, I've lived in that part of the world.
But he's Iraqi.
You speak the language.
You don't speak Arabic.
The language.
I
agree with you. No. I'd be embarrassed after 30 years working in Saudi. I can't speak Arabic.
I can listen to him, like I know what it is.
Yeah. But
I agree with you. West
Thank you.
should never have gone
James
into,
agrees with us. Allahu Akbar.
No.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle.
They had no business any more than they had in Libya. They did the same in Libya.
That guy is a pantheist.
Which one?
The tall guy.
He's a what?
Pantheist.
Really, the problem with the Shias and the Sunnis keep fighting.
Again, it's better than this. They have played a large part.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
You are. You are
I'm not a
Shia.
No, I'm not.
Yes,
I'm not Muslim.
You are not a Muslim.
Yeah, this he said. You share.
He's from Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
James in politics.
Yes, and I don't take an Englishman convert seriously.
Why? Why not? Why not? That's racist. Why not?
That's no good.
No, but this change looks stupid.
That's not Allah saying. Allah saying, is that right?
If anything, I'd be a pantheist, not a pantheist.
Oh, what's that?
So a pantheist is, that literally creation is God.
Right.
So creation equals God, whereas a panenteist means in, so en means in, so it means that God is in creation, creation is in God. It's something.
What's the difference between that and a pantheist?
It means that there's more than just creation. There's something plus. It's like creation plus. That's how I would see it.
Well, why do you see it that way?
I just think it's. I believe in that science is the best way to verify information, and if there's any kind of God,
Can science verify the supernatural?
no, because there's no good evidence that there is supernatural.
But can science verify supernatural?
Well, there's no good evidence that there is.
No, but if you don't have, you have to have a mechanism to verify it or not, isn't it? Though. How do you know supernatural exists or not then?
Well, I don't think it does.
No, whether you don't think it does is just a subjective opinion. We're talking about...
Yeah, I know,
right.
That's my subjective opinion. I can
but
only go on my subjective
but what's it based on?
Because based on my experience, my subjective
So what have you experienced that's brought you to the conclusion that a creator doesn't exist? Because you're saying science now. Science doesn't agree with what you say. Science doesn't believe creators in.
You asked me what I believe. What do you mean?
No, I did ask you.
Okay,
you said you're a panenteist.
Yeah.
So a panenteist is someone who believes that God is in creation, creation is in God.
For example, I think.
But then you went to science model.
I believe in evolution, so I believe the cosmos.
Which model of evolution?
So the one that's sort of ascribed to by 98% of scientists. So if you look at the Big Bang Theory, for example. I ascribe to that.
But it's just a belief, you accept that, yeah?
It's
not proven.
It's a belief, but it's based on good evidence.
No, but it's just a belief, though. It's not proven.
Yeah, no, but it's based on good evidence.
What's the good evidence?
So you've got evidence coming from archaeology. You've got evidence.
No, Big Bang's got nothing to do with archaeology.
No, I'm talking about let's say, the evolution of Earth.
If you want to talk about evolution on Earth, but you can't talk about evolution.
There's a whole discipline called Big History, which includes cosmology.
All right, so let's start with cosmology.
We can talk about cosmology.
Right, so let's talk about the evidence for cosmology. Okay. So what evidence do you have of a Big Bang? We don't have any evidence. You have a belief. You said good reason. Good reason. What's the good reason?
No, good evidence, I said. So
good evidence?
Yeah, you have evidence coming from the Hubble telescope.
What does that prove?
It proves that galaxies are expanding away from each other.
Right.
You've got the Doppler effect, which that galaxies are moving away from each other, so you can extrapolate back.
Right. And all scientists believe in this?
Probably not all.
But so looking at the same evidence, they come to a different conclusion?
I'd say 98. Well, that's how science works. Science works
I know
but it works on falsification. So nobody wants to say I've got the right thing in science.
Yeah, they can't.
They say, look, here's a hypothesis. Shoot it down.
Right.
That's
do you think?
That's the virtue of science.
So do you think the Big Bang is incompatible with the existence of God?
No.
Good. No. That's a good answer. Okay. So talk to me before the Big Bang.
So I would go, that would be the furthest I could go, as a deist kind of God. So someone who kicks off the universe and lets it go.
So you believe, okay, that's fantastic.
So he would set in motions, he would
so you believe God exists?
Strong nuclear force.
So you believe God exists?
No, I don't have good enough evidence.
You just said God kicks it. What are you talking about?
Kickstarts it.
So God kickstarts it? I'm
not saying that. I'm saying that would be
I'm asking what you believe, though.
I'm saying that would be if you wanted to go down that line.
No, I'm asking you. I'm asking you what you believe.
Yeah. I know.
Do you believe God exists?
Depends which kind of God. God is like saying.
Do you believe a creator exists? Do you believe in an uncaused cause?
I think that's just. I mean, you could say that creation caused itself. You could call that God. I mean, it is creative. This is obviously creative, right? We've got trees here.
It was caused.
Grass,
this is the effect. This is the effect of cause, then, isn't it? Because it's not always been here, is it?
No, it hasn't always been here.
So it's an effect of a cause, then, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And is that caused or uncaused?
I mean, it's probably caused, yeah. It's probably lots.
So the cause is caused. Now, obviously, you understand the problem of infinite regression now, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
So we need to kickstart it somewhere. So we have to come to a point where something's not caused.
Yeah, but I just agree that I could subscribe to a deist kind of God at most.
No, but it's that deist God you're referring to that kickstarted everything.
Yeah.
Is that uncaused?
I guess so.
Would it have to be, isn't it?
Yeah, he would.
Because otherwise it would need because that would need a cause.
He could be self-caused.
So it's not caused by anything else. Self-caused.
Yeah.
Give me an example. Why would you say something self-caused?
Well, there's no other example of God, is there? I mean, if that would be.
That's what I'm saying to you. So my definition of God is uncaused, cause of the universe. Yeah.
Sure.
So. You agree with that or not?
It's not about agreeing. I explore things. No, it isn't. That's what you think reality's like. I don't think I'd never.
You disagree with that? Well, there's no games here. I'm asking a simple question. Do you agree or not? You agree or don't agree? Well, I don't mind. If you don't agree, it's not a big deal for me.
Yeah, but if I just, it's so sort of conflictual the way you're talking about it. It's like maybe I could say that. There is an uncaused cause.
Right.
Okay, that's fine.
Right.
I could go that far, but I'm not saying I agree and I totally believe in that. I'm just saying, yeah, that's quite logical.
Yeah, that's fair. It's reasonable.
Yeah, reasonable.
All right.
Yeah.
And now this uncaused cause, if it caused the universe, yeah, would you accept then this uncaused cause is conscious?
Yeah, I mean, that's another leap. I don't know. Well, why would I think that?
Well, the reason you think that is because we have conscious causes and you have mechanical causes. So you have causes that occur just because something else exists. So, for example, apples will grow on a tree just because the apple tree exists. The tree doesn't choose to grow apples. The apples are the result of its existence, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you understand? Now, I've used this example before. If I was to bake an apple pie, the apple pie doesn't necessarily have to exist just because I exist, does it? But I can get the apples, get the crumble, and make an apple crumble, yeah? Yeah. So its existence is caused by me deciding when to do it, isn't it? It's not
because we know that you're conscious.
Because I'm conscious. Okay.
No, I know that you're conscious.
Right.
I think you are.
Yeah, of course.
I would.
So that's the difference between me and an apple tree. An apple tree doesn't choose when it has apples or not.
Yeah.
An apple is just a consequence of its existence.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I can verify that you're conscious, I think, because I talk to you, you respond. I'm pretty much.
How do you understand the term conscious?
I understand it to mean basically there is something.
Can sync?
No, there is something that it is like to be you.
It's what?
It's a famous paper, you should look it up. It's about consciousness. It talks about...
Who wrote it?
I can't remember his name. I wish I could.
It wasn't that Lanza, was it? Robert Lanza.
It may be. Or I don't know.
On about this biocentrism.
So he's talking about... the title is pretty evocative. It's something like what it is like to be a bat. So he's talking about is consciousness in an animal?
Would you say a tree is conscious?
He's talking about is there consciousness in animals, and he talks about a bat. So he's essentially saying what happens if you trade places with a bat. Do the lights just go out, or is there something that it is like to be
maybe I need to elaborate what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. I'm a conscious cause of the apple crumble. Yeah. The apple tree is the mechanical cause of an apple. Yeah? So let's just it's not just conscious, it's a conscious cause. Yeah? So the cause of the apple crumble is a conscious decision by me to make it when choose to make it when not to make it. Yeah? The apple crumble doesn't necessitate to exist just because I exist, does it?
No, I mean
exactly.
I know that you've created it and you're conscious.
No, but I don't have to make it, do I?
No, you don't have to.
But so if I cause it, then the cause is conscious cause. It's a decision-making cause. It's a purpose cause.
Yeah, because you've created it.
No, but I've decided when to create it. That's the point.
Yeah.
I don't. So but an apple tree doesn't decide when to produce apples, does it?
No. Yeah. Okay. So you're saying that you have free will and a tree doesn't?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the cause. What's the cause of an apple? An apple tree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but that cause is called a mechanical cause, meaning the apple will exist because the tree exists. Do you understand? The tree can't exist and then choose when to produce apples. Because the tree exists, the apples will exist.
It's just mechanical cause and effect.
Yeah, exactly. So if the uncaused cause of the universe, which will be infinite, eternal, was the cause of the universe.
But going back to the difference between you and you causing an apple crumble and a tree causing, I don't know if you causing an apple crumble is conscious. Maybe it is mechanical. I mean, that's still.
Well, if it was mechanical, that means the apple crumble needs to exist because I exist.
No, I'm just saying that we don't know whether the biochemistry of your brain and everything made you decide. That could have been cause and effect.
No, but the point here is this: if it was mechanical, that means that necessitates the apple crumble to exist because I exist.
So what is the other category you're talking
mechanical
about?
Mechanical cause.
You're talking about mechanical and
conscious.
Conscious. Okay, so that's where we don't. I mean, for me, that's like very nebulous.
Yeah. So the reason I'm using conscious is that I'm the one to decide when the apple crumble is going to come to existence. That's what I'm saying to you. Whereas the apple tree doesn't decide when the apple comes into existence.
Yeah. Assuming you do decide.
Well, I've read that nonsense also.
No, it's not. It
is kind of.
I don't know if you do decide.
You're trying to say that there's no such thing as free will.
No,
and that everything I do is
I'm not trying to say that. I'm saying I don't know.
No, but that's what you're implying.
I'm saying it could be.
That's what you're implying. I know what you're implying. You're implying the idea that.
I'm saying it could be.
No, but you're implying it that. See, what you're implying is that whatever I do is a result of a past, something in the past. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a million causes why using
your logic, when a man rapes a child, he's not responsible for what he's doing because it's just a product of his past. That's where it goes. That's where it goes. No, it doesn't, because if it's just mechanical chain reaction, then there's nothing he could do to avoid doing what he did.
Yeah, I mean that would be a terrible conclusion.
No, but unfortunately that's where you lead with your hypothesis.
But it could be that. I'm not.
No.
If you're excluding that.
I'm not
subscribing to it.
No, I'm not saying you. No. I'm not putting it in there. But what I'm saying is, if you want to throw that in the ballpark, you have to accept that someone who rapes a child child should not be held accountable for their action.
No. I think they should be held accountable. But they might be they might be mechanically forced to do it.
No. You can't say that. If you're trying to say that there's no such thing as free will, and whatever we do in this,
I'm not saying
that. But the theory you're putting forward does say that.
I'm saying it might be that.
Right. What?
Wouldn't it be arrogant of me to say I know definitely?
No. If you want to go that route, I'm just saying to what you're saying. So in terms of the gravitation of what you're saying. So what you're basically saying is, not you.
I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying you are. But I'm saying the theory you're putting forward, because I've read it, I've watched it, I've seen it. Is there such thing as free will? I watched it. But what it leads to, like I said to you, if nothing we
I've thought about it. I know what you're talking about.
And that's where you're going to go.
Yeah,
you can't hold any. Criminals cannot be held accountable for their actions now.
They can be.
No, they can't be, because it's just chain reaction.
They need to be.
It's just chain reaction. Can't help it, mate.
Be chain reaction.
No free will, mate.
Be held accountable.
According to your theory, they can't be held accountable.
No, they
because they can't avoid it.
It may be cause and effect that they're like that, but they still need to be held.
No, but they can't avoid it. According to your theory,
they can't avoid it. Maybe a psychopath.
So how can you
avoid it? Maybe he can't avoid it.
No, even not a psychopath. Not a psychopath.
No, I'm just saying, maybe a psychopath because of his brainwaves.
No, not a psychopath.
He can't be.
Not a psychopath.
Yeah, but it's a similar.
No, because now you're going to. We're talking about normal people here.
Okay, normal people.
Well, I'm talking about somebody who commits a crime, cannot be held accountable for that crime because it's not their choice to do that crime. It's just a result of chain reactions in the past. This is a theory you're putting forward. That's all I'm saying. No, you are. I'm not saying you're believing it, but that's what you're implying. So that me making the apple crumble.
Yeah, but the same would apply for me wanting. It would be mechanical cause and effect for me to say I want a judicial system in place to stop those people.
No, that would be a conscious cause.
No, it wouldn't. It would be the same.
No, it wouldn't. I'll tell you why it wouldn't. See, I spoke about the apple crumble, right? And you're saying maybe I didn't.
Okay. Let me concede what you're saying, so you can get onto the point of God.
Well, no, I have to grind this first. Sorry.
All right, go on.
So no, because then you don't repeat it, or people who are watching don't repeat this nonsense. Because I did watch
it. Nonsense. That's really
because I think it is nonsense. I think it's nonsense that a man who rapes a child.
I'm not saying that.
No,
you're putting words in my mouth.
Okay, for the benefit of the camera, I'm not saying he's saying it, but the theory he's putting forward does imply that. Okay, because I watched it. Because you're saying to me, if I make an apple crumble, I might not have chosen to make the apple crumble, but a chain reaction in my past has caused that apple crumble to be made, and I think I've chosen to do it, but I haven't. It's just chain reaction. Because I've seen the theory. In the same breath, if a man chooses to rape a child, he can't do anything about it. He's not chosen to do it. It's just chain reaction from his past. It's the same principle, and it doesn't work. It collapses. Anyway,
I mean, you've just decided that it doesn't work. Maybe.
Well, you don't agree with it works, does it?
No, I'm saying the truth may be really unbearable.
So you think that could be true?
I'm saying no. I'm not saying what you said, because the way you articulate and spin it is not the way I'm thinking about it.
It's not horrible to think it that way.
No, I'm saying it could possibly be that. I haven't dedicated. I've got a busy life. I've got to earn the bread and stuff. So I haven't dedicated enough thought. And I wouldn't be arrogant enough to say that I'd come to a conclusion. On
I should hope not, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I haven't come to a conclusion on that or anything else.
Like I didn't choose to drink that water now. That's the same principle.
Yeah, I mean, I would like that the universe has bestowed upon us consciousness.
I would agree, so, because we would be nothing more than animals.
I think we're animals.
No, but I think that
I think we're worse than animals.
No. Well, in Islam teaches that man can be lower than the animals and higher than the angels.
Yeah,
we accept that because angels we believe as Muslims, angels have to do the will of God without choice. No, it's what we believe.
I know. I like it.
Well, I love it. But human beings don't have to do the will of God. They choose to.
Yeah. So angels.
I'm trying to take it off.
Where do you know?
Where did they watch the rest of it? Oh, no, it's not recording.
Oh, it's not recording.
I stopped now.
Oh.
Tell that one.
Oh, that's your 10-minute ad. Yeah. SC Dawah's gone now. Yeah, you can watch the preview there.
Give me this one as well.
Right, I've got to shoot. Is
that it?
Yeah, sorry, I have to get back. My phone is going to run out, and I went.
Fair enough then. All right.
It was nice hanging out. And
yeah. It's a shame we didn't get longer. Sorry if I interrupted what you were saying because you were on your tangent.
Good stuff.
But no worries, my man. Hope to see see you again soon. Take care. You don't mind if I finish off with the camera, yeah? I'm gonna finish off with the camera. You don't mind? I'm not gonna deride you. I don't do that, man. All right. What's your name anyway? James. Okay.
Come again, James. Take care, mate.
Just to conclude, it got a little bit messy in the end with James. What I was trying, because he believed in God, didn't believe in God. God is a creation, creation is in God. It was a jumble. Then he tried to use science and Big Bang, but then they don't believe it's God either. So it was a little bit confusing. So what I tried to do is pin him on what he believes, not what he knows, or what he thinks, what he believes, what is reasoned. And he conceded an uncaused cause. And then we got to the point now is that uncaused cause a conscious or mechanical cause? And then this is where we got tied up in this consciousness. Now, all I was trying to explain to him is that some things, like for example me making the apple crumble that I used, is a conscious decision by me. I decide when and when not to make the apple crumble. The apple crumble doesn't necessitate existence because I exist. Then I use the example of the apple tree. The apple tree exists and therefore apples exist. Not because the tree chose to create the apple, it's the effect of its cause, which is the tree. And that's what we call a mechanical cause. Then he tried to put forward this theory that I watched this a while ago, about how nothing we do in life is free. It's not free will. It's all the result of random chains of events. But this collapses because what happens is, if you're trying to say that whatever decision you make, like if I pull my water out now and drink my water, I didn't choose to pull out my water out and drink my water. It's just a chain reaction of events. But then you've got the problem of the criminals then. Like I use the example of the paedophile, the one who rapes a child. You're saying that he can't help rape the child because he's got no free will, because he's following a chain of events. Maybe when he was a child he was abused and it's come to that conclusion. But then you don't punish criminals in society, you have no deterrence of criminals in society. So for me this collapses. So the only point I was trying to make with James before he left was the fact that if there's an uncaused cause of the universe, and the universe isn't eternal like the uncaused cause, that means the uncaused cause cannot be a mechanical cause like the apple tree. Which means the uncaused cause needs to be conscious. Why? Because if it was a mechanical cause, that would mean the universe has to exist because the cause exists. Which means if God, the creator, the uncaused cause is eternal, would mean the universe also needs to be eternal. But we know, according to science, the universe isn't eternal. It had the Big Bang, which James elaborated on. So that's the problem we have. So if you have a finite universe, you can't have a finite uncaused cause. So if the uncaused cause is infinite, that means it decided when to create the finite universe. If that's the case, we then can question what was the purpose of said creation. And has this creator tried to guide us within our lives today? And that's where religion kicks in, alhamdulillah. And hopefully next time we'll try and finish off with James.